ladies and gentlemen of the press, you may recall in November 2017 and on June 27, 2019, I counseled the Prime Minister, indeed advised him, warned him, and put him on notice that he should not utilize the pension funds of the people of St. Lucia held by the NIC for his grandiose, politically driven projects. As usual, our advice to the Prime Minister has fallen on deaf ears, as we have now learned that a multi-million-dollar foreign-owned golf course project to be located at Cap Estate is to be facilitated by funding from the NIC. On June 15, it was announced that St. Lucia had broken ground on an 18-hole golf course at Point Hardy in Cap Estate. According to the Prime Minister, Cabot St. Lucia will feature not only the 18-hole golf course, but a resort including a 50-room hotel, villas, and the sale of lots. Cabot St. Lucia is being built by the Canadian concern Cabot Links. The Prime Minister never revealed the true story on the investment. One would have expected that in St. Lucia, Cabot Links would have meant direct foreign investment into the country by that company. However, we are now learning that the project will receive funding from the NIC. In other words, the pension funds of St. Lucians are being used for the project. On the 5th July, the NIC issued a press release purporting to defend its decision to invest in the Cabot St. Lucia project, arguing that the investment is within, and I quote, the parameters of its investment policy and guidelines, end of quote, and it has passed, and I quote, its rigorous investment processes. However, while the NIC press release states that the NIC recent investment in Cabot St. Lucia meets the requirements of the NIC Act, the investment policy and guidelines, and its mission and vision statements, end of quote, it has failed to disclose the nature of the investment. Has the NIC indeed loaned 30 million US? Is the NIC investment by way of shares or bonds or debentures? Why aren't the people of St. Lucia being told how the pension funds are going to be used by Cabot, and why and how Cabot was given access to them? Where is the transparency that should have accompanied the announcement? The press release further states that the NIC obtained security, and I quote, which is 3.5 times the NIC investment. What is the nature of the security? If Cabot has access to such sound security, why hasn't Cabot been able to raise the finance it requires for the project from its home base in Canada, where it is repeatedly so successful? The Prime Minister does not seem to understand that foreign direct investment in a country means that a non-national or foreigner brings money into a country from overseas sources in order to invest in the country. Instead, for the Prime Minister, foreign direct investment means that he gives directly to foreigners our lands, our beaches, and now our money. There are environmental and other aspects of this Cabot St. Lucia project that raise questions about the efficacy of the NIC's involvement in it. There is the impact of a large golf course demand for water in a dry area where water is already in short supply. There is the fundamental matter of how the project will affect the right of access by the people to the beaches and the Queen's chain in the area. As I said to the Prime Minister at a press conference on the 27th of June, while the NIC appears to be very liquid now, This must be taken in the context of the actual reports on the NIC, and is not a reason to view the NIC as an ATM machine to which the Prime Minister can resort to at any time. We have had $11 million sourced from the NIC to facilitate the DSH investments. The payment of $100 million of government bonds last year, and now a $30 million to the Cabot Group from Canada for their proposed Gulf Coast project in St. Lucia. The monies held by the NIC are the pension funds of hard-working St. Lucians who are depending on this to survive during their retirement years. They are to be invested wisely to attract maximum returns and not to finance high-risk private enterprises like golf courses owned by foreign nationals or used to fund private sector projects dreamt of by the foreign friends of the Prime Minister. Once again, I wish to warn the Prime Minister to divorce himself from the dangerous belief that NIC funds are his to use on demand. Let me reiterate that there must be prudent use of the financial resources of the NIC. They are a guarantee of our people's future, particularly the youth of St. Lucia. It seems that the interests of the Prime Minister are paramount. Whatever the Prime Minister wants, the Prime Minister wants to get. The NIC exists solely for the purposes of financing the pipe dreams of a Prime Minister to help him to win the next general elections. The entire portfolio seems to be at the disposal of the Prime Minister. I urge the directors of the NIC to take a pause and consider the responsibility to the present and future generations of this country. These transactions are questionable and lack transparency. They are likely to cause irrevocable damage to the public's trust of the organization. Why would anyone want to trust the NIC when it operates in the dark? The Bank of St. Lucia, where large amounts of NIC funds are held, made a similar error a few years ago and is still reeling from the disappearance of his investment in 3 hotels in the north of the island. Why did the investors not secure investment funds in their own markets? The recent NIC statement on its involvement in the Cabot project has not addressed a number of pertinent issues that may have reassured stakeholders of its proper use of the contributions of St. Lucian workers. Once more, I expect answers from the NIC to the following questions. What is the size of the NIC investment in the Cabot project? Is the NIC investment in a golf course or in a project involving a hotel, villas, lots for sale, and the golf course? What are the proceeds of the investment to be used for? At what stage of the project will these funds be required? What is the extent, if any, of any local ownership in the project? The vision statement of the NIC speaks to, and I quote, playing a leading role in national development, end of quote. Given the environmental considerations of residents in the area about the proposed developments, has the NIC addressed these issues with the National Trust? The St. Lucia Labour Party is always supportive of developments that will improve the quality of life of citizens. But such development must be conducted in an environment of transparency, fiscal prudence, fairness, and accountability, especially when NIC funds the only source of income for most pensioners of our country are involved. If the NIC wants to calm people's fears, they must provide more information about the exact nature of that investment. And I thank you.